Welcome to Flawless Conversations. I'm Tomeka Jones, and today we're diving into how mindset can shift your life, your confidence, your purpose. You're watching Now Media Television. Welcome to Flawless Conversations. I'm your host, Tomeka Jones. This show is all about truth, healing, and the powerful stories that shape our purpose. Today, we are on a deep dive into what it really means to finally release the story God placed inside of you. Our guest, Dr. V. Blackwell, is a transformational leader, an educator, founder of Vomero Christian University, and she is passionate, deeply passionate about equipping people to walk boldly into their calling. And today she's here to help us unlock the story we've been holding on to for far too long. Dr. V, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm glad you're here. Let's step right into this conversation about what happens when your story stays stuck in your heart and how we begin to let it out. Not as perfection, but as purpose. Dr. V, so many people carry a story that aches to be told, yet fear and doubt and comparison, that comparison trap, keeps them silent. Many people often believe their story isn't good enough, big enough, or perfect enough. I was one of those people. This segment helps them and me to understand how to start, how to honor their story, and why it matters. Dr. V, what is the first step someone should take when they know their story matter but don't know where or how to begin?
Hmm. Well, I think the first step is giving yourself permission to speak. Let's talk about it. Because your story doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with honesty. You got to be real, keep it real, because people want to hear authentic stories. At Vermont Christian University, we teach our leaders how to do that. Your voice is part of your assignment. The moment you say, "My story deserves space," clarity begins.
Yes, I like that. I like that. Clarity begins. And then you don't need permission, right? To start.
No, no, you do not.
Right. Your story is deep rooted inside of you, and your story is your story, right? My story may be different from yours. Your story may be different from mine, but we all have a story. And
Absolutely.
how powerful and empowering is that to empower someone else um, through your story, right?
Absolutely. Somebody's going to tell your story for you if you don't tell
Uh,
it yourself, right?
that part.
So, at least,
That
yes. And
part.
I think God allows us to go through things sometimes, so he can use our testimony to help others.
Yes, I totally agree.
Mhm.
So why do people often feel their stories aren't good enough for others to read or hear?
Because sometimes people compare their stories, to other people's stories. They want to change it up, like, well, okay, well, you said your story's like this and mine's is like that, but your story is your story. It has a raw beginning, and you can't compare it to someone else's finished chapter. So, what makes your story powerful is not perfection, but it's being authentic, keeping it real. Telling people the truth, the whole raw truth about what happened will
Yeah,
help you to
that
tell your story.
absolutely. That authenticity is what we need most, especially when curating your own story, just being yourself. And there was times that I struggled with being my true authentic self, right? Where I had to go back and peel back the layers and ask the question, who is Tomeka and what does she want in life? And what does that look like, right? And
Hmm.
why do I have such fear of not being good enough? Right? Where is this coming from? So a lot of times we have to dig deeper to get to our why, right? To even write that book.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. I think sometimes it goes back to like a childhood trauma or something. Something happened back in when you were a child, that will, get you stuck. And just like, so that helps us with the put on them layers.
Yeah,
So trying to find out, true identity and who we are, it's peeling off the layers because it's all up underneath, covered up with a bunch of stuff.
it is childhood trauma,
Hmm.
workplace trauma, relationships that people have been in the past where their spouse told them they weren't good enough and your story doesn't matter. Nobody ever listened to you. All the things.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dr. V. I agree.
Absolutely.
Dr. V, how do you help someone turn their pain or experience into a story that can heal and also inspire?
Well, as a grief coach, because I've been doing grief coaching for a while, so I kind of help them separate the wound from the wisdom and turn it into wisdom. Look at the authentic part. To go deep, dig deep, and tell the because like as grief clients, a lot of them still struggle with anger, denial, bargaining, depression, all kind of stuff. And like I said, just dig deep and realize when those triggers happen. I want them to write from a healed place, not the hurting place. You see what I'm saying? Because when you can help someone to heal, your pain becomes someone else's breakthrough.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
wholeheartedly. Yeah, and writing from a heal perspective
Yeah.
versus a traumatized perspective.
Hmm.
Um, and that's even our words. We can go back to just the words, right? We want to speak and become heard from a healed place and space, not a hurt or traumatized place and space. So that mindset is key. You hit the nail right on the head.
Hmm.
Heal. Um, and I also did a book collaboration with you, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Um, but Dr. V, you are so amazing. You're doing so many things. And we'll talk about that later as well. What mindset shift can help someone trust that their story has value, even before it's polished, even before you do your magic, right? What mindset shift helps someone to trust that their story is valuable, even when you do your polishing, your final touches?
Well, like I said, when you know that your story needs to be told, you see what I'm saying? You gotta just like I said, you gotta shift from when you shift from a place of healing and how you feel now since um you gotta break through, right? Because
Right.
like I said, a lot of times we going through stuff, we writing it down, we journaling about it, and we know we can turn this into a book to help someone else. And you just like with so when you start the process, you start with your little title, and then you break it down into chapters and sections, right? Because a lot of times when we're writing, sometimes you journal, you have different topics which could actually be chapters in a book,
Mm,
right? So when you break it down, I think that helps us to start the mind, to shift our mindset, and say, hey, this actually, yes, I made it out, but there are a lot of other women or other ladies struggling with the same thing that I was stuck with. So now I need to help someone else other than myself.
yes. So that mindset set shift,
Hmm. Hmm.
meaning my goal is to inspire, empower others. Right. It's not
Right.
just about me. It's
Hmm.
not me because that's a form of being selfish, right? You have a story to help the next woman or the next man or the next family, but you're not sharing it, right? So that mindset shift, meaning you want to help others and give back and empower others. That's huge, and that's what we
Hmm.
need right now in the world, right? We need more of that.
Absolutely. Yes, we do.
We need more of that. We
Yeah.
definitely need more of that. What's a affirmation could encourage someone who believes my story matters and deserves to be told?
Like I said, yeah, that is the good one right there. That my story
Yeah,
matters. It
yeah,
does.
yeah,
It
yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
matters,
yeah.
And like I said, if you don't tell it, one day somebody's gonna stand up there and tell your story for you, right? Because
Absolutely,
that obituary
absolutely.
is like it's your story, your life, right? So know that it matters, and it definitely you deserve to tell it. And I know once I start writing books, I think that's a part of that our gifts will make room for us.
Can you say that again? Can you
Yeah,
repeat?
our gifts will make room for us. And I think that's when you start to really can identify because you start digging deep like, what are my gifts? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? All of that comes out when you start writing.
So
You
that
start to release a lot of stuff and you like can figure out why you was stuck. Like, oh, so that it went all the way back to something a kindergarten teacher said or second grade, coach, right? So yeah. But
right.
books, like I said, they have changed my life. They really have.
Yes, that purpose, right? I am
Mhm.
worthy. I am the
Yes.
author of my story.
So
Yes.
yes.
Beautiful
Mhm.
affirmation. Write that down, everybody. I am the author of my story. I hold the pen to my story.
Yes. Story. Yes.
Absolutely. So, coming up next, what do you do when the Blank pages feel like a mirror reflecting back all your doubts and fears. And how you write it anyway, right? How can you write it anyway, right? So stay with us. We'll be right back. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tomeka Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. Want more of what you're watching? Stay connected to this show and every Now Media TV show, live or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or iOS and enjoy non-stop bilingual programming. On the move? Catch this podcast version anytime at www.nowmedia.tv. From lifestyle and leadership to faith and personal growth, Now Media TV is here for you 24/7. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. We're here with Dr. V, diving into the writing journey, specifically the overwhelm that happens when starting on a blank canvas. Many viewers and listeners may feel called to write, but freeze when it's time to start. Let's unpack how to move from procrastination to progress. Once again, many people want to write, but the fear of failure, perfectionism, and not knowing the right way stops them. And this was me. So I'm talking to myself too. In this segment, it gives the viewers and myself and listeners the structure, confidence, and small steps to start building momentum. Dr. V, what do you recommend to someone who wants to write but feels the blank pages is too intimidating? They don't know where to start.
Start small, like one sentence at a time, one moment, one memory. It all starts from a blank page. It isn't a wall, so don't go stop at that, run into the wall and say, it's a doorway, it's an open doorway. So look inside, start, like I said, one little paragraph, one sentence turns into a paragraph turns into a chapter turns into a book, so don't think you have to have 500 pages in the book. It doesn't have to be. You can start small. It can be 10 chapters, 12 chapters, and then leave something for the next book because people will always ask, hey, when is your next book coming out? So don't
Absolutely.
try to deliver everything in one book. Just keep writing.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
When I started, I started my journey with flawless, all things flawless, right? My definition of flawless is confidence, resilience, and self love. And when I started writing my books, the two books that I've written is Cultivating Your Garden of Self Love, and then Writing the Ways to Self Confidence. I started Dr. V because I wanted each book to represent flawless. I still haven't written the resilience piece. That's the one about my military journey. And
Hmm.
that's going to take a while because I have to unpack a lot, right? The good,
Right.
bad, and the ugly. But like you said, baby steps. When I first started, the first one was writing the ways to self confidence, right? All the things that I struggle with, right, along my journey. So, like you said, I had to take baby steps, right?
Hmm.
And some of the stuff is raw, right? It's from childhood trauma, it's from the military, it's from my young adulthood years. But once again, pouring back and giving that back to others and sharing my story and empowering others. And in
Hmm.
my book, there's nuggets, right? Takeaway nuggets at the end of it, because I want women to take something from like learn life lessons, right? From my
Right.
book as well. So that was my first book, and it wasn't my best book, needless to say, but I put it out there, right? And sometimes we are our worst critics, and so much
Hmm.
about that, right?
Yeah.
Especially with writing, you see people, they think that they don't have a masterpiece when they bring it to you, and they do because it's their story, their journey, and their walk, right?
Right.
So yeah, that start
Absolutely.
small. Dr. V
Mhm.
said start small, right?
Yeah.
Words turn
Mhm.
into a paragraph, paragraph turn into a chapter, chapter turn into a book. And also, not even a book, Dr. V, they can may consider writing a journal, right?
Journals. Yeah.
You have
Hmm.
journals, you have,
Yeah.
right?
I do. Yep. And because you can do devotionals and affirmations for journals, and they help. They help people to heal. Most of my books, the anthologies are devotionals, and we write for one day. So yep, short pieces. It doesn't have to be a lot. Some people just need something to get through the day.
Yes. And the
Hmm.
anthology that we just did a while back, Rising Through the Pain.
Hmm.
How many men and women was in that anthology?
90.
90 of us. Oh,
Hmm.
it's so powerful. Rising Through the Pain. It's on
Hmm.
Amazon. Um, and I think it's on Dr. V's website as well, which she'll give out later. But Rising Through the Pain was powerful. Tell us a little bit the theme of that.
So rising through the pain. So like I said, I'm a joy, grief and joy restoration coach. So all of my books service that community. When I first started out writing, I lost all my siblings. So I had three sisters and a brother that all passed away. And I was serving in the military. I was like, okay, trying to figure out my exit plan. My youngest sister was the last to pass. She passed in 2014. And I had gotten grief coach. I had gotten life, Christian, spiritual, salt life certified, and grief and joy restoration. And after she passed, God brought me back to my certification and said that was my calling. Whew.
Mm, powerful.
So I was like, wow, okay. So that's why I'm here to help people heal from grief and loss. And so I started writing about doing collaborations first because I really didn't know how to write a whole book. So I was in a couple of collaborations before I started doing mine. Probably about seven different collaborations. And then I published my first book. It was the Grief Helpline. So the Grief Helpline was a devotional. First half is grief recovery, and the second half is joy restoration. So I broke it up into like that. So it was 50 days of grief recovery, and then the second part is joy restoration. So that I turned into a package when COVID hit. I actually created a grief kit because I couldn't do just one on ones. It was just the world was grieving and everybody was calling, and I was about to pull my hair out over here. So I said I worked on a grief kit. So it's the devotional, a journal, a coloring book, and a planner because a lot of times people can't concentrate and they don't remember dates. So the coloring helps them with the therapeutic for healing, and the planner helps them to keep their dates and stuff intact. So those are, I mean, just some of the books that you can do. But yeah, whether your audience or is kids, teenagers, adults, men or women, because a lot of people actually read books.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
find out what it is what you want to do, what your purpose is, and what your gift is, like Dr. V said. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's kids, there you go. You have coloring books, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
adults, you have books, planners. Everybody love planners. I need a planner. So Dr. V, I'll be talking to you afterwards because I need a. My mom needs a planner, right? She
Okay.
always misses her appointments. So
Yeah.
whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is, pick up that pen, right, and start writing it out. Make it clear as day. And if it is a book, then start writing it. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
journal, if it's a planner, if it's a self help, is if it's an whatever it is, autobiography, start.
Yeah.
Okay, take the first step before this new year, this 2026 roll around, and it'll
Uh,
be here before you know it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Right around the corner.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. V, how do you encourage someone to stay committed when progress feels painfully slow?
Mm-hmm.
I know really quick when I started writing my chapter in the anthology, Rising Through the Pain, I talked about my loss and how me losing a child, um, how difficult that was, but turned around and I made it into something positive, something someone can take away from reading my chapter in that devotional, right? So even when there is pain, right? How do you encourage someone to stick and stay committed to the process and the progress that they're making?
Well, when I was writing, and I always tell my clients to do like a weekly rhythm of reflection, so that way, because sometimes you get stuck, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna put it down. So you put it down, but pick it back up the next week. So you can start journaling. You can record your notes. Voice notes help. A lot of quiet time when you're reading, when you're writing. You need a lot of quiet time to get the clarity to be able to release it to the paper. From the to the pen to the paper. Quiet, being quiet and still helps. These practices keep your message flowing, and that helps you to release it. Even sometimes, when the motivation fades, you be like, I'm tired, right? But if you stick to, being committed to doing it weekly, going back to it,
Mhm.
um, and continue to reflect on it and, write it down, create your little voice notes, you can get your book out there.
Yes, basically what you're saying is from the heart to
Mm-hmm.
the mind, from the mind to the paper, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Ah,
Absolutely.
powerful. Dr. V, where can our audience connect with your writing programs, your coaching, and resources?
My my website is for the coaching is www.lifeyouimagine.com. For the school, we have the university, Vomero Christian University, and they can find my books and the information for the school at www.vomerochristianuniversity.com.
Okay, so both of those, and you tell us a little bit about the school. We have a minute or so left. Tell us a little bit about Vomero University.
So so I launched my school in the spring, but someone found me on social media and they nominated me a couple of years ago to get my honorary doctorate. And at the time, I was working on a collaboration, and I asked them if I could share the opportunity with some of my co-authors. And she said yes. So from that opportunity, I nominated over 50 people to get their honorary doctorates.
Ah,
So I love the honorary doctorate program because it truly opened the door for me. This spring they came out and they said, "Hey, we're going to teach a few people how to launch a school." And I was like, "Wow, that may be my next," because I had such a good success rate with nominating candidates for our program. So I started the school. My grandson is the president, and I'm the founder. 66 years old, so I created Primero University to create a legacy for my family, and we're going to rock it because it has an honorary doctorate as well as we have 33 different programs over there. So you get bachelor's, associates, bachelor's, master's, as well as a doctorate. But I love the honorary doctorate portion.
yes, so
So
amazing. And you're
thank you.
building legacy. I love it. Impact. I love it. VCU.
Mhm.
So like, we'll talk more about that
Okay.
next segment. So up next, why imposter syndrome tries to silence you, even the strongest voices, and how to rise anyway. Stay tuned of more flawless conversations. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tomeka Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. In this segment, we're talking about something every leader, writer, or creator battles with. That's imposter syndrome. Even the most talented people feel unqualified when stepping into their voice. Today, Dr. V helps us separate truth from fear. Many of the viewers and also listeners feel unworthy, inexperienced, or that not good enough, even when they're gifted and they're truly qualified. This segment breaks down how to silence the inner critic, embrace authenticity, and lead from heart, not through insecurities or fear. And Dr. V, why do some of the most experienced people still feel like imposters, even when they try to write and rewrite and write again, or even lead?
Because stepping into a new level, it exposes old doubts. It brings up things like, "Am I good enough?" And can I really do this? Right? Because it's fear of facing it. Right? But even strong leaders struggle when they transition into something new. First of all, it's new, and the getting rid of the old and stepping into something new. We always, face the fear. But authority comes from being authentic, being keeping it real, and it doesn't always come from credentials. A lot of people say, because when they say the doctorate, like with the honorary doctorate, a lot of people don't feel like the honorary doctorate is legit, but it is. You don't have to go back to school and spend have all the student loan debt for the rest of your life, for real. So being authentic will help you to heal from that imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. I so
Hmm.
because many of us do feel we want to step out and do these things, but once again, that fear, right, creeps
Hmm.
in, and then we feel like, oh, I'm not good enough to write a book, or once
Right.
again, this book isn't better than Dr. V's, or we that comparison trap, right? We get
Hmm.
caught up in that.
Right.
So one thing that I learned to do is take a step back. And once again, say,
Hmm.
my journey is my journey, my gifts are my gifts, my talents are my talents, my purpose is my divine purpose, not Dr. V's,
Hmm.
not, my friends, not my mom's, but Tamika's, right?
Right.
So sometimes we have to take a step back, right? And self reflect and become self aware of who we are in places and spaces. So that imposter syndrome is something else.
Yeah.
it,
It
it
is.
creeps in, right? It's like
It does.
little guards, right? And it
Hmm.
don't move until you move it. And
That's
I
right.
always think of the guards at Buckingham Palace, right? They don't move until the queen says move,
Food,
right?
right.
They
That's
they
true.
stand right there, and they're sneaky. You never know they're there. So when I think of that, I think of imposter syndrome. I think of fears. I think of doubts. I think of all these things that shows up in our lives. But we have to remove them. We have to say,
Hmm.
hey, step aside. This no longer serves me, right?
Right.
So, Dr.
Absolutely.
V, how do you help someone see that impact isn't always about, once again, you mentioned it early, credentials, but
Hmm.
about heart and authenticity?
By showing them that impact, it doesn't require perfection. I mean, it requires connections. You have to connect with your audience. Because someone is out there waiting for your story. Someone is needs to hear your voice. So like I said, and books will do it. So get started, journaling, writing, put your story out there. And like I said, you will be able to reach your target audience with it.
And once again, that's creating that legacy, right? Because you'll be
Hmm.
long gone, and guess what? Guess what still lives? Your
Yes, 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 they're still out there. Yeah.
your words will still remain when you're
Hmm.
long, long gone. So that's powerful enough.
It
That's
is.
powerful enough. What practices help quiet that inner critic when it starts to whisper, "Who do you think you are?"
Community support,
Yes,
people,
I agree.
people who
I,
reflect back on the truth of who you are. It helps, like I said, with the school, that's one of the greatest things we offer, in our university is keep it real, tell the truth. Who are you? Because your message is your message. And we are all different. None of us are the same. Even the twins, right? They got the different fingerprints. They may look like the same, but they are different, right? So share your message with the world. Your story is good enough. And like I said, each book you'll improve. Like, oh, none of us start out with the best book in the beginning. It's a learning process, right? Just
right.
put it out there, then you say, hey, well, that wasn't my best work, but that was the beginning. That was the start. So you fail forward, face the fear of actually becoming an author, and the journey begins.
Yes, yes, so true. And I get better and better. When
Yes.
and you mentioned that too. All the authors too is you have to start small and start somewhere, and then your story matters, right? And
Mm,
what
yes.
practices help me to quiet that inner critic, kind of like you, when it whispers, "Who are you to say that or to do that?" Right? I go internally and I start affirming. I'm the affirmation queen, Dr. V. Listen,
Okay.
I'm always affirming Tamika, right? And I wasn't here. I just got here. I haven't always been at this place and space where I'm at now. And
Hmm.
I'm a bit quiet. A lot of people, like, oh, that's just Tamika. But once you get to know me, Okay, she got a little fire in her. She's good.
Right.
But just walking in and becoming her every day. I wake up, I say my affirmations. I give gratitude. I have affirmations on my mirror, becoming her, and what does that look like? And I go into my imagination daily and imagine how I feel becoming her. Whatever, whether it's writing the next book, um, flawless conversations, how I want to show up there. I practice every day how I want to show up, becoming her, because every day I'm a step closer to becoming her. Right.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
So, how
yes.
can self love and self trust become the foundation of believing in your own message, Dr. V?
Hmm. So self love. So you got to know that first of all, self love and self care is so important. A lot of times we go, especially as women, we take care of everybody else other than ourselves, right? And then
Right.
it feels like it's wrong to take care of you. Oh, I need my nails done, but I can wait. No. Go get your nails done. Take care of you because you can't pour from an empty cup. We have to. We pour so much out. We have to get filled back up. So whether it's getting your nails done, your hair done, whatever, that cute little dress or that you want, or bag that you wanted, you are worth that. You understand?
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
definitely.
do
Those are
you,
all
you know?
all ways to care for ourselves. And then we
Hmm.
have to also dig a little deeper too and do internal self-reflection and self-awareness
Yes,
along with that,
yes.
right? But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely take the trip.
Yep. It's
Buy the
worth it.
yeah, do it, do it, do it, do
Hmm.
it. I just bought my daughter a puppy. And it's funny because she will pray every day. About this puppy, and she started praying out loud at night so I could hear her in my room, right? So, and that's the only thing she want. That she don't want anything else. That's all she wants is a puppy. So I just
Wow.
bought this puppy yesterday, and I'm like, what did I do? Right? What did I do? But for her, her prayers was answered. And me just
Right.
looking from the outside in, I'm like, I just, bless her, right?
Hmm.
Well, God
Hmm.
just blessed her through me. And I'm
Right.
a vessel, right? But
Hmm.
that's all she wanted. All she wanted. So she had the puppy and she's trying to clean up the pee and poo and she's smearing it everywhere. And I'm just like, Lord, please.
Yeah.
Right. But it's helping her, right? Because
Right.
she either wanted a sibling or a puppy. I said no siblings. We're not going there. So a puppy it is. All right.
Yeah. And
I'm
it'll
kind of
get
off track though, but I just wanted to
yeah.
share that story, right?
Yeah, it'll get easier because she'll learn how, just got to show her a couple of times. Because kids, they learn easy nowadays. So this show it, no, you got to pick it up like this, a scoop or get a scooper. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And if it's sweet, you got to wet it and then step on, to get it all up out the floor and then get it up. But yeah, and it'll help her,
It
you know,
will.
as, and it help you too because you'll be able to get out there and walk with her, so get a little exercise in and get grounded. So that's good
Yeah.
stuff.
She's having a ball. She didn't want to go to school today. I'm like, no, you got to go to school. That's what we're doing. Okay, back to the topic. I'm sorry. I don't know why I shared that, but I just had to share it with you all.
It's
So we'll
good.
see. We'll see how it goes, Dr. B. What affirmation empowers people to start believing I am qualified because I am real and I care?
Yeah, so for like I said, books qualify you. Books will get you in rooms that you normally couldn't get in. And when you start writing your books, you will learn. It'll break you down because, like I said, it's going to dig deep and release some of the stress, the traumas and stuff that you had, and give you some breakthroughs. So it helps you um, to be real. You
Yeah,
see
it's
what I'm
therapy.
saying?
Therapy,
Yeah, it's
right?
therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
And it releases some of that, because we have a lot of pent up emotions and all the stuff, still identity crisis from being retired or age or divorced or whatever, you go through so many different identities. You're trying to figure out who am I with all the stuff that's layers that's falling off or caked up on me. I need to get rid of this so I can get to the real me. And so it helps. Just you are qualified. Definitely, we're all real. So hey, and we do care. That we need to show that more now because the world is so much division out here,
It is.
right?
It is.
Yeah, and they teaching us and the kids that. So we gonna have to, it always comes back home because when your child comes home with what they learned at school, then it's in the house, so you got to pray and keep it up out of there, keep the enemy out the house, right? But it's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And you're so true. It's, everything you're saying is spot on, right?
Yeah.
Affirmation. I think I said it. I am qualified because I am,
Hmm.
and I do care about the world, and I am authentic, right?
Right.
A lot of
We're
times,
here. We live in it. We're a part of it. So what are you? It's so important about the dash, right? We know we was born and we gonna have to leave here at some point. But that little dash, what did you do in between? You see what I'm saying? God
mhm,
brought us here for something. We were sent here. We didn't ask to come. You didn't raise your hand and say, "Hey, can I go?" I'll go. Right. But now we say we'll go because we'll work for the kingdom. Right. So I work for God now. Wherever he leads me, whatever door he opens, that's where we go now. But we were sent here, so to do, some great things. So this
yes,
is the beginning. And it's always going to be a bit beginning, and somewhere in the middle, you start to a bit to identify it, right? It starts coming together like these little pieces that was missing. Something was missing from my puzzle, and then you'll get the little pieces because when we start in business, we be all over the place. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do this, grabbing everything, right? But then it starts to make sense when you settle down, right? Oh, so now I can have the magazine. Oh, so now I can, yes, we can add that part too. We can have the TV show. All of it comes into play.
that divine inspo, right? You get the
Mm-hmm.
little nuggets, like you said, everything starts to map, and pieces start to come together. You don't
That's
see it
it.
when you're going through it, right? But
Mm-mm.
it makes sense when you take a step back, and you
Back.
look at the bigger puzzle, and you're like, oh, that's why. And
Exactly.
even with us, right? When we retired and got separated from the military, right? That
Mm-hmm.
identity, you talk about identity,
Yes.
to find out, find ourselves, right? Who is Dr. V? Who is Tameka without all
Mm-hmm.
these accolades, titles, and I'm this, I'm an officer, I'm a nurse, all these accolades and titles and that society put on us. But who are we
Mm-hmm.
at the core, and what do we want, right? Purpose,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's some of the things I struggle with once I separate the military. I don't know if you struggle with that as well, but that was a huge for me because I wasn't part of a bigger purpose, a bigger mission anymore. So
Right. Same here, and especially when you retire and then you're still young, you want to do something, but you're not really quite sure because they a lot of times they point you in the right in the direction to go back and start being a contractor, right? So which you're gonna be working with the same folks you were working with. You see what I'm saying? Before you left, they just took the uniform off, and I
right,
said, no, I don't want to do that, right?
right,
So
right. Yeah,
my
you
thing
so
was
true.
let me figure out this thing so I can start my own business, right?
Mm,
Because I was an entrepreneur and I was selling everything. Liz, Sophia, Tupperware, Cincy, I did it all. I like the networking space, right? But my youngest sister passed away, and my niece said she didn't want none of that stuff. And I was like, we went in there, she just wanted the pictures. Girl, that just threw me through a loop, right? So I sit down and I said, my kid's gonna have to do the same thing one day.
mm.
I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna change the game because I'm gonna start doing books. They're not gonna want to throw my books away. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Uh-uh. So I started, I stopped all that Scentsy, Tupperware, Murray Kay, because they already established their business, right?
Absolutely.
We got to
Absolutely.
put something in the ground for us. For our parents worked really hard. My grandparents worked hard. So, like you starting your business for your daughter, right? Yes, this is what we have to do because you can set up trusts and all the LLCs and 501(c)(3)s, all of that. We need to do check those blocks now.
Yeah, absolutely. I so
Mm-hmm.
agree. And we talk about our purpose and passion. And I know when I got out of the military, I started my women's empowerment apparel,
Mm-hmm.
Flawless Fashion Co. But it was
Right.
based on fear, Dr. V. Fear of me
Mm-hmm.
public. I didn't. I fear public speaking. I didn't want to be the center of attention. So I started. I'm like I can tell my story through my apparel. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, God said, that's not where I called you, Tamika. So
Right.
let's rewind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's play that again, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's coaching, it's writing books, it's empowering
Right.
people. Yeah, my apparel was a funnel to get to where I needed to be, but that's not where my ultimate um, where I should stop, right?
Right.
So here I am on a talk show talking, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Facing my one of my worst fears, which is not a fear anymore because I'm doing it right.
Right.
I don't call it a fear. It's just what it is. I'm speaking.
Hmm.
What's that? Right?
Absolutely. And it will open up so many doors to me because
Yes.
just like you're speaking here, even though you don't have an audience right here, well, you do have an audience online, right? But I'm saying you walk in the room with the same, mindset. You
Yes.
look at the back of
Confidence.
the room, look always to the back of the room. You don't have to look directly in nobody's face. Every now and then you'll catch someone, eyes or whatever. But get up there and sell your products and sell
Yes.
your books. And invite people to be on your shows because it's going to open up so many doors.
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it could be awards, your own conferences, retreats, workshops. It is so much bigger than just us, and that's what you have to get out there and share in the world. And I know you said you wanted to start to doing collaborations. You have a great platform for that. So you just need to yeah, put it out there and start recruiting people to be on in the collaboration.
That's one thing I said I wanted to get with you. I think I hit you up the other day and was saying I would love, and
Mhm.
if anybody would love to do, have their own anthology, come up with a theme and have, my goal is to start small, maybe 10, 20 women, probably not as many, but
Mhm.
10 or 20 inspiring authors to start. Give them the voice, right? So they can put their thoughts to paper and have their own book, right? Which may become a bestseller. Not may become, but will become a bestseller. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely going to collaborate with you on that and pick your brain in
Okay.
regards to that.
Okay.
So coming up next, how to turn your message into movement, not just a manuscript, but once again, how to turn your message into movement and not just on paper. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more flawless conversations. We'll be right back to remind you that healing is possible. Confidence is yours and that you are flawless. This is Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. And we're back. I'm Tomeka Jones, and you're watching Flawless Conversations on Now Media Television. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Flawless Conversations. Don't miss an episode of this show or any of your favorite Now Media TV shows anytime, anywhere on Now Media TV app, on Roku or iOS. Preferred podcast? Listen online at www.nowmedia.tv with 24/7 bilingual programming. Now Media TV brings stories, insights, and inspiration right to you. We're back with Dr. V for our final segment where inspiration meets action. This is where a story becomes a movement, a book becomes impact, and a message becomes your ministry. Let's talk about turning personal truth into public transformation. Many of the listeners and viewers here need clarity on how to move through writing thoughts to building influence, community, and real world change. This segment gives them strategy, confidence, and direction. Dr. V, what is the first thing someone should consider when planning their book to make sure it impacts people and not just sit on the shelf?
Write with intention.
Mm,
Know your audience. Know who
mm,
you're speaking to, and what do you want them to walk away with.
I love that.
Purpose. Yes, purpose should be behind every page.
I so love that. And I think a lot of times we lose the momentum on authors or writers, because we want to help everybody, right? We want to help and do everything, but once, like you said, stick with your niche, stick with your audience,
Mhm.
right? And that's kind of what I've been doing too, and that's what you also teach as well. Know your audience, know your niche, and kind of and go full throttle with that, because a lot of times we're all over the place, and but we're not, you know, directing our attention to our niche and our target audience. We're all over the place, right?
Mhm.
So I love it. I love that. I love it. How do you help authors think beyond the writing into strategy, connection, and reach?
I teach them that the book is a seed. It's not the entire harvest. Your story can grow into a movement. like we were speaking about, a program, it can be a ministry, but it's something larger than you.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
And this question here is a big one too. So what mistakes do you often see with new authors? What the mistakes that they make when trying to market their message or their book the wrong way?
A lot of authors try to market the product instead of nurturing the people. You have to nurture your audience. That's why I say know who your book is for.
Gotcha.
Impact comes from connection. If you're connecting with your reader, your audience, you don't have to really focus so hard on promotion, but because it will come when you're connecting with the right people, then you can know who to market to.
Awesome, awesome. And really
Mhm.
quick, Dr. V, on flawless conversations, we have a flawless nugget and a flawless fact. Can you give
Mhm.
us a flawless nugget, something the audience, the viewers, the listeners can take away from this show here, and put in their back pocket or potentially help someone else to grow?
Sure. If you're listening today, I want you to know this: your story is not small, your voice is not accidental, and your message is not meant to sit inside of you. Someone is waiting for your message and what you carry. So start with what you have, start where you are, and trust that your message will help the right audience.
I love that. I love that. And give us a fact about Dr. V.
Dr. V, if you feel well for me, like I said, I'm going to continue this mission that God has me on. Inspiring others, helping others to get their honorary doctorates, start Christian universities. The door is wide open. I'm going to do retreats because I want to inspire my candidates and doctors to, keep pressing because we
Yes,
got to go all in. Invest in yourself is the best investment that you can ever make because you know what the sweat and the tears that it put in for the work and you know what you expect to get out of it. Right.
yes.
Continue to plant seeds and let's do what we came to do, what God put us here to do.
Okay, flawless fact. Love it, love it, love it. Dr. V,
Thank you.
this has been very powerful. Where
Thank you.
can people follow your work, join your programs, and learn more about your leadership, resources, how to write a book, where to start, all the things?
I am Dr. V on Facebook. So you can find me there. My website for the university is www.vermaro, Vermaro, ChristianUniversity.com. And I hope you all look me up and I'll send you a link where you can chat with me and we can get you started, whether it's books, the honorary doctorate, or coaching programs. I'm here to serve.
Yes, and you do that very well.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Dr.
much for
V.
having me.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
V,
you.
for reminding us that our stories are sacred, our words are worthy, and our voices are needed. Today, we learned that writing is not just about these pages, not just about the pages, it's about healing, purpose, and impact. For everyone who's watching, remember the story God placed in you is meant to move through you. Take the next small steps. Trust your voice and keep showing up and
Yeah.
showing up every time. This is Flawless Conversations. I'm your host, Tomeka Jones. Until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay flawless.